Guys.
All right, there's Jeff Kerr joining us right here on Birds 365. Appreciate Jeff Kerr joining today. Make sure you guys follow him at Jeff Kerr PHL. All right, John, I'm going to get into a couple other topics here to wrap up our Monday edition of the show. Obviously, the lead story on today's show is Vic Fangio and what that outlook looks like. I do wonder, John, do you think we're safe for the year on Vic Fangio?
I think he will be back. If I use the percent, 80%, he'll be back. I think there's a little bit of room for him to change his mind again, because he seems to be constantly changing his mind. So why can't he change his mind again? But I know from the Eagles side, they're going to do what it takes to, another part that could complicate this is that all of a sudden Brian Flores got paid $6.5 million. So he's now the highest paid defensive coordinator. So that could be part of it too.
And up Vic.
Vic was the highest paid defensive coordinator, 4.5. That exploded it. Yeah. To 6.5. So you might have to do some contract adjustment as well.
Well, you want to keep the 68-year-old around for another year? You give him his $7 million or whatever he's going to need.
Yeah, maybe.
I would do it. You think they'll do it?
I don't even know if it's an issue, but
yeah, it might not be.
I think they would, yeah, but I don't know if they'll have to. But hopefully he doesn't read what Brian's making.
He will. He'll know what Brian's making. There's no doubt about it. So interesting stuff there with Vic Fangio. It is going to be. How much do you think that impacts? Maybe not at all. Potential free agents.
Well, you got time before free agency starts, so I don't think it'll impact. Most guys, 90% of guys, are going where they're getting the best deal.
Mm-hmm. It's a business. At the end of the day. Yeah.
So I don't think it'll affect it, and you still have some time as well to work things out before March 11th. So I think it'll be much clearer by March 11th.
We'll see what they end up doing there for Vic Fangio and that saga. I did think it was interesting news this weekend that there was the scare. I'm surprised you didn't think that's what Adam was referring. I thought for sure that's what Adam was referring to. When I get what you're saying, Adam. I'm
saying if you listen to what he said, I think it was. I don't think he was alluding to. I think that was his way of saying goodbye.
Yeah. So you think you got a little lucky this week? Then you think you got a little lucky this week because it looks like it's Adam.
No, I think he wasn't. I'm not saying Adam didn't know. I'm saying I don't think he was doing it on that particular phone call. I think he said, "Who knows? We might be talking about." In other words, I got to get off the phone to do another type of thing.
We'll see. We will find out this.
I think it worked out for 97.5. That's who I think it worked out for.
That's true. That's true. Good for them. Good pull for them to get Adam and to get him talking about that. All right, John. Next topic here today I want to ask you is about Sean Mannion and just how you expect this offense to fill in. Like, I know we talked about it a little bit at the open, just in a brief way, but now if you get into the nitty gritty, who are you expecting to change? And maybe it's nobody, but you look at the staff, you do have a lot of, guys that are supposed to return, but I'm sure also a lot of guys, John, who are on the edge of their seats. I mean, when you have these big coaching changes, people don't understand the ripple effects of it that it has on guys throughout your organization. Nobody really knows. Am I back? Am I not back? They got to get it all done. I think I saw it was reported that he started meeting with guys on Friday. I don't know if you saw anything on that.
He was talking. Yeah, they were meeting on Friday.
Yeah, meeting on Friday
with the assistants, and he and Nick are huddling and trying to decide. Like I said, they'll certainly give him somebody. And I use Kellen as an example. Kellen got 2. Now they also may be more willing to make some changes this time. So I'm gonna, if the over under is 2, I'm gonna go 3. But again, some of those guys will probably be like quality control.
Yeah, right.
level.
Which are a little bit less.
Yeah.
So who do you think it would be then? Do you think it would be? You mentioned, I know you mentioned Leffler in the open, but for the sake of this segment, new viewers potentially, Scott Leffler as one. Would that be one? I don't want to speak for you.
Yeah, I think the most likely for different reasons, Scott would be last one in, first one out. Jeff Stoutland would be more of, I don't want to go through this again. And then Aaron Moorhead would be my outside the box candidate, just because I think they need to develop some different style of receivers, like manufactured touch guys, and some different to do some of the things they want to accomplish. So those would be my three potentials. I don't see them moving on from Jamal Singleton, Jason Michael. So those are the major ones.
Jason Michael, I mean, Dallas Goedert just had career year touchdown. I don't think you're going to move on, but I get how it goes. I do think one of the interesting parts of that, John, is you always point out how coaching in a way is like most things, but it's connections. It's who you know. And Sean hasn't been a coach that long. Now, I do think you're right about when you're a backup quarterback, and not even really a backup. He was more of like a third string guy. He only played 3 games, I think you mentioned, in his career. You're kind of an extension of the coaching staff. So potentially there are some relationships that were forged in that environment, but I do wonder how much that affects or impacts, who they bring in as the staff. Maybe Nick liked that, hey, I can have a little bit more say or at least, have a little bit more of my connections maybe come to the surface in the building if I go with somebody that's not as Cliff Kingsbury who wants to change everybody,
Well, I think, for all the talk about Nick doesn't do this, Nick doesn't do that, I think this has been the clearest, these are Nick's hires. So, yeah. But I also think Nick is, that's just, he's been, Nick's still young for the most part, certainly compared to me, but he's been around for a while now. So he understands how it works. I mean, he's 44 now. He's been coaching in the NFL since 2009. So it's been a long freaking time. And he knows how these things work. Usually you want some change. A lot of times you do it with guys who have expiring contracts, the assistants. Michael Clay, there was talk that he might leave because his contract was expiring, but ended up staying. And it might be time to make some change just for the change sake, which I don't agree with, but that's just the reality of the NFL. It's like, you move in guys, you move out guys, and you try to get a spark. So that's why I think in theory, you would think Kellen would get more from a experience standpoint, but I think Sean might end up getting more of his perceived guys because they want to make some changes.
Yeah, right. And do you think it's expected by the owner for them? Like, do you think, I'm sure that was probably in the conversations in the end of season meetings that they had. I wonder how much Jeffrey Lurie wants change and said to Nick, well, you don't have an option, dude. We need some change. I don't know. I am curious about that.
Jeffrey doesn't operate that way. He's like I said, he's maybe we need some change. Do you think we need some change? He's the question asker. And that's how he fired. That's which is why you said
Nick is good at being political.
Yeah. That's how he makes known what he wants done. But he doesn't until he fires somebody, obviously. We said, you got to fire somebody. But when it comes to steering things, he does it by asking questions and making it clear what he thinks. And when the billionaire makes it clear what he thinks, if you're smart, you go in that direction.
Well, we'll see what ends up happening with the coaching staff and how it fills in. It's going to be interesting to see how it fills in. He did meet with some position coaches on Friday. Garofolo said, expect a blend of old and new, kind of what Johnny Mac is saying here on the show this morning. Good stuff there. We got some super chats we will get to. We've got about 15 minutes left in the show today. Appreciate everybody being here. Week number 4 of the offseason, everybody. It's February. January is in the rearview mirror. Here's Theo Bear. Giving out Pro Bowls like participation trophies, ... Make it stop, Theo.
Yeah, but it's been going on for a long time. Although Shedeur is the worst player, I think, just from the season he had. I mean, there might be worse players that have been alternates, but I mean, like you can make a strong argument that and he didn't even start that long. But like Snoop Huntley made it when he was obviously a backup quarterback, and he only started like 4 games or something, but he played well in those 4 games. Shedeur didn't play well. So, it's part entertainment, obviously, and he's got a big name. It's at this point, though, it's gotten silly. So, I'm of the belief of just get rid of what they do now. They don't even play the game, for those who don't know. They play a flag football game, and they have a bunch of sort of skill type things. And they call it the Pro Bowl games. So it's not like they're actually playing. But I think
stupid, honestly, it's kind of tough to watch, even if like you want to watch it.
Yeah, I've never watched it once in my life. I think it waters down the honor, which is a nice honor if you get named to the Pro Bowl, even though there's some flaws in the voting, but most of the original Pro Bowl team is pretty good players and deserve at least to be in the conversation, maybe with the exception of Cam Jurgens.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
Coming off the season he had, I mean, that was a reputation one, but for the most part, it's a good honor, but not when you water it down with these alternates.
No doubt. Good stuff, Theo. Let's go to our next super chat. Brian Garner, what's up, brother? Came in a little late, he says. Thoughts on Sean Payton talking about Bo Nix's medical history? Question. Good question.
Haven't paid that much attention to it. I know he screwed up his.
It was kind of weird. Bo came out and responded to it. It was before vacation. It was an interesting setup.
I don't know what it sounds like, and I don't know. You can clarify, Brian. I know a lot of people get in their feels about HIPAA rules. That doesn't apply if guys allow you to talk about it, and certain players do. Like coaches are not bound by HIPAA, but if that's what you're getting at, I don't know if that's what you're getting at, but most coaches don't talk about it. Obviously Nick Sirianni, but other than he screwed up the rehab timetable, I haven't paid much attention to it, so I can't talk that much about it because I don't really know what he said.
Good stuff, Brian. Appreciate your super chat. Here's Latef. Next super chat says, health was an issue last year for the offensive line. Did anyone already have a surgery already this offseason? Good question. Week 4, has any of that taken place to your knowledge, John?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, we don't get access to the players this year, so but this time of year. But some of that will start to come out at the combine if guys got, and I assume Landon certainly is going to have some surgeries, maybe multiple. I don't know if Cam is. I don't think he will be. Lane's going to be interesting. If he has to have surgery after not having surgery, that could be a big downfall. But no.
Well, what would they be waiting? I'm not a medical guy. And I know you're not a doctor, but you have more information than I do. What would people be waiting for when it comes? Like, wouldn't you ideally want to get the surgery done as quick as possible so that you can get, as recovered as possible for the season, or do you have to wait for swelling to go down? Like,
well, it depends on the injury. You always have to wait. If it's an injury with swelling, you always have to wait for swelling to go down. There's different types. There's clean out, it could be a clean out with the knee. Some guys want to go on vacation. They just went through 19 games and they have plenty of time. It's, so it could be a multitude of things depending on injuries. And like if you tear your ACL and you have significant swelling, you have to wait for it to go down. But yeah, and if you're getting a cleanup, you can do it whenever, but you just want to make sure you're ready for off-season work. And if it's a more serious injury, training camp would be the goal.
Yeah, good stuff. Lateef, good question, man. Let's keep an eye on that. Alexander Harris, what's up, brother? Member for 17 months. Thanks for your question. He says, you guys probably already talked about this, but do you think the passing game coordinator is a mid-season insurance policy if the OC doesn't pan out? Harris, I appreciate the question because it's kind of what I was thinking when I asked earlier today about the setup, John. I was just like, it's a tough spot. It's a pressurized environment, and you have a rookie play caller coming in here with guys around him who aren't rookies. You already know it, John. I don't have to explain to you. How long until we have give the play calling to Josh Grizard or give the play calling to somebody else? Week 3, I could see it coming.
I go second half of week 1.
Yeah, right.
No, I mean, I wrote about that the day they hired Josh Grizard, using the Frank Reich example. I've been talking about it since that day. I wrote about it that day. It's a layered insurance policy. It's not the obvious top of the run Frank Reich insurance policy, but it's an insurance policy. It's also an insurance policy so Nick doesn't have to do it because Nick doesn't want to do it. So, but I think it was I gave them credit for the way they did it because you can't make it overt like you did with Matt Patricia. Can't make it overt. And they didn't make it overt. Although some people are talking about it, but it's not, Josh Grizard doesn't have this demonstrated history of being a top tier play caller or a head coach.
No, he doesn't.
Whereas
but I'm telling you now, when it's convenient, people will point to those first 6 weeks and say, well, before the injuries, look at what he did in Tampa.
There are a few things I can guarantee in life: death, taxes. Eagles offensive coordinator is going to get shit upon. There's no Sean Mannion's got to get shit upon at some point. The point is, do you persevere through it and accomplish what you want to accomplish or not? That's the bigger question. He is going to get shit on. There's if there's people who think no, he's going to get shit on, and relatively early.
Death, taxes, and Eagles OC getting shit on. Three good guarantees in life. Here's MRT, member for 15 months. Thank you, MRT. What's up, brother? He says, not Eagles related, but I got to ask John about Embiid. Believe he was done due to loss of athleticism, but he is defying the odds because of his skills.
Yeah, well, nobody's ever doubted his skills.
Yeah, no.
But, I mean, I forget that dude's name, the doctor, who everybody's getting credit, but he deserves credit. Look, I mean, he's playing great. It's awesome. There's no way I don't think anybody would have predicted. I thought he'd never have a game. A big time. Jonathan Glashow is the orthopedic surgeon who kind of fixed Joel Embiid. So he's getting a lot of love. But yeah, I never thought he'd be playing at this level again. Now that said, and I saw Dr. Glashow say thank you for all the nice words, but it's a long way to go. I'll believe it when I see it if he gets to the playoffs and he can play every game and he's healthy. I'll believe it when I see it. mean,
Martine, thank you, brother. Here's another super chat from Brian Garner. Brian, thanks for following up, brother. Appreciate you being here today and your support of the channel. He says, following up on the Sean Payton, Bo Nick situation. Payton said Bo was bound to get hurt due to multiple surgeries. Bo came out and said he didn't know why Payton said that and that he hadn't had multiple ankle and foot surgeries. Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Yeah, Sean, maybe. I never advocate coaches not give their opinions because I hate when Nick Sirianni does what he does. But if you don't have the right information, you should probably shut it down. But it was weird. It was weird the way he talked about it and getting the timetable wrong. And obviously, Bo's probably not happy about it, but I don't know. I don't think it'll be a long-term issue because Sean Payton deserves credit for getting him where he's gotten him so early in his career. I think he'll realize that at some point and let bygones be bygones.
Yeah, it's true. Sean can at times come off like a pretentious.
He's got an ego.
Successful coach, though, so no doubt about it. All right, good stuff. We got a couple minutes left on the show today. The big news of the day, obviously, is that Vic Fangio report. I'll just run it back for you guys real quick, just give you guys kind of the synopsis. It was kind of, I don't know if it was reported this way, but it was reported he kind of told the team he was retiring after the season. Eagles convinced him to stay for now, but there's still wiggle room there. They did reach out to Jonathan Gannon and Jim Schwartz in between. Fangio is 67 years old. He'll be 68 by training camp. This could probably flip at any point. So shout out to Jimmy Kempski, Garofolo, and some of the other people who got that one. And I do think it's something to keep an eye on because that defense, to me, is pretty fragile without Vic Fangio. We will see how it goes. Here's one more super chat, John. Philly Don. What's up, Philly Don? Thank you, brother. My concern is more with who is going to replace Stout if he decides to retire. All the talk about Vic, but the O-line and Stoutland is the biggest concern, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, again, you're late in the process. So, Atlanta obviously fired their coach. The O-line coach down there is pretty well respected, but he already got hired in Baltimore, I believe. Dwayne Ledford. Most of the guys out there at this stage are guys who got fired or guys, and there's different reasons, as I said. Somebody like Ledford is well regarded. He's on the street because they changed head coaches, but they're going to get swooped up pretty quickly, and he did. So if you're moving on from Jeff Stoutland, you're probably going to get a young guy who's unproven. It's probably where you're getting. So, and if you think about some of the, and I wrote about this on SI yesterday, like who does Sean Mannion know? Well, from a coaching perspective, you look at Green Bay and that's it, because that's the only place he's been. So I looked at
some names from like when he's playing career though. Do you agree with that? I mean, not to say it could though.
Oh no, I'm sure he knows, but they're not going to be, again, he's 33 years old. So he doesn't know, he might know an established offensive line coach from being a player while somebody was an offensive line coach, but probably doesn't have a strong relationship. So Eddie Gordon was the assistant offensive line coach in Green Bay. Jeremiah Colon was an offensive assistant, but his history is with the offensive line. You're probably looking at guys like that. So you're taking a steep drop. But you're taking a steep drop anyway when you move on from Jeff Stoutland. So
No doubt. Philly Don, it's a good point by you, man. A lot of talk about Vic. Well, what about Stout? See, Philly Don, I'm happy you haven't fallen for the propaganda. I heard a lot of fans last week saying they were in favor of firing Stoutland so that they could land Cliff Kingsbury. I'm like, what has Cliff Kingsbury ever done for you? Then you want to fire Jeff Stoutland. Nobody complained about the running game when they were historic and when they've been one of the best running games.
It's crazy. Welcome to my world, Sandra. You're starting to get there's no basis of logic.
I mean, that is just insanity.
For making
one of them guys.
Like, I can't tell you, and I talk to these guys all the time, and I can't tell you if Sean Mannion can be a good coach. I can't. Why talk with such conviction about
Sean
this?
Mannion hire, and I kind of like the Sean Mannion hire. I really do. I think it's an interesting setup, but I don't think it has anything to do with the guy. I think I like him. I kind of like him. I just don't know if I like the setup for him. I know you. Well, we already thought about that word today. We don't need to do that again.
I don't. But why do you like him? Like, I don't like him. I don't
know why.
I don't know him.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know why I like him. He comes across to me as from what I've seen, from what I've heard. I like the idea of getting a young guy. I like the way he grew into coaching. I like, where he's been a part of. I like that he's a former quarterback. I like things about him. I think he could be good. But you're right.
There's every chance he could be good. But I think I just get a kick out of the convicted people. It's like, well, you gotta fire Jeff Stoutland for clicking, like you said. Welcome to my world. It's like,
I wouldn't fire Jeff Stoutland for the guy they hired. That's for damn sure.
If they move, like I said, the Philadelphia Eagles will never fire Jeff Stoutland. Number one. Never.
It would be a forced retirement type of thing, back channel.
It would be a mutual parting of the ways, is how it would be described. But from the standpoint of even labeling it as a firing wouldn't be the case. I don't believe so. They just have too much respect for him.
Yeah. All right, John, your final thoughts here on a Monday edition. Week 4 starts with a bang with the Vic Fangio talk. I do think he'll be back, which is good. Your final thoughts here today on Birds 365.
Yeah, the Eagles are getting started, man. It's going to be a big off season because not only the coaching shifts, but significant as we got into a little bit, but we'll get into more when some of these coaching things get, buttoned up. A lot of personnel things to talk about, but if you get Jalen Phillips for $15 million, do it. Do it.
If the predictions are correct, that's a no-brainer for the Birds. All right, John, good show today, my friend. We will talk to you tomorrow. Make sure everybody goes and follows John at JF McMullen, the #1 Eagles beat reporter out there. John, thank you, brother. We will talk to you tomorrow on a Tuesday edition of the show.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thanks, John.